large statue, an enormous, dazzling statue, awesome in appearance. The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of baked clay. While you were watching, a rock was cut out, but not by humans. It struck the statue on its feet. So dreamt a king of Babylon nearly 2,500 years ago, a dream described in the Bible, in the book of Daniel. The king was Nebuchadnezzar, ruler over the new Babylonian Empire, and creator of one of the most magnificent cities in the ancient world, Babylon itself. Today, Babylon is deserted, its ruins surrounded by swampland. But the archaeologist has confirmed the splendor of the original city described in the Bible and the power of its king, Nebuchadnezzar. His name is embossed into the millions of bricks of which the city was built. You can see several of these bricks today in the British Museum, and an information sheet published by the museum records the inscription and its translation. So the background to the Bible record is firmly historical, and Babylon plays an important part in Old Testament history. It was Babylon that brought the kingdom of Judah to an end and deported many of its people. It was during this period, 6 centuries before Christ, that King Nebuchadnezzar had this dream, a dream that was first described and then interpreted for him by the prophet Daniel, who was one of the Jewish captives in Babylon. As the king dreamt about this huge statue, he saw something else, just as remarkable. A little stone appeared, cut out without hands, we read, and he saw this stone fly through the air and strike the image on its feet. The feet were made of this weak mixture of iron and clay, and so they shattered, with catastrophic results. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were broken to pieces at the same time, and became like the chaff on the threshing floor in summer. The wind swept them away without leaving a trace. But the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain and filled the whole earth. The vision faded, and the king slept on, but disturbed by something that seemed to him of enormous significance, which was quite true, because as Daniel told him, this wasn't an ordinary dream, but a message from God himself. A message designed to show him that for all his pride, his Babylon would be short-lived. It was only one in a series of empires that would dominate the ancient world. And what is more important still, the dream was telling him that all human government would one day come to an end and be replaced by something else. Daniel's explanation of the dream was very simple, but far-reaching. You, O king, are the king of kings. You are that head of gold. So the pride and splendor of Nebuchadnezzar's Babylon was very well represented by the statue's golden head. After you, another kingdom will arise, inferior to yours. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, for iron breaks and smashes everything. And as iron breaks things to pieces, so it will crush and break all the others. Just as you saw the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. As the toes were partly iron and partly clay, so this kingdom will be partly strong and partly brittle. This dream, then, according to Daniel, represented a succession of 4 great powers that were to dominate the ancient world. The fourth would not be displaced by yet another great power, but would disintegrate, leaving a divided state of weak and strong nations. All this happened exactly as Daniel predicted. Babylon was captured by the Persians in 539 BC, when their leader Cyrus diverted the course of the river Euphrates that ran through the center of the city. The Persian armies marched into the city along the dried-up riverbed, taking the crown prince Belshazzar and his court entirely by surprise. So the empire of the Medes and Persians replaced that of Babylon. A later king, Darius, built Persepolis as his new capital, and today the ruins are still an impressive witness to the power and wealth of this empire, represented by the silver chest and arms of the statue. But to the north, the power of Greece was on the increase. And when Alexander the Great defeated Darius at Arbela in 331 BC, the Greek Empire replaced that of Medo-Persia. The bronze belly and thighs of the statue seem very appropriate to represent the power of Greece, which was noted for its bronze-clad armies. But the Greek Empire too was not to last for long. Its disintegration began almost as soon as Alexander died, and it was eventually replaced by the most powerful of all, the Roman Empire. For some 500 years this great empire ruled the known world with a heavy hand. Again, the iron legs of the statue are a good symbol for the power of Rome, which Daniel said would crush and break all others. Eventually Rome too came to an end, but it wasn't replaced. Over a period of several hundred years the empire slowly collapsed, due to corruption within and sporadic attacks from barbarian hordes outside. All this happened in exact fulfillment of Daniel's predictions. Now, this isn't a view of ancient history deliberately manipulated to fit the dream. Another publication from the British Museum shows the same succession of powers, from the Babylonian Empire of Nebuchadnezzar to the Persian, to the Hellenistic or Greek Empire, and finally to Rome. H.G. Wells, in his famous book, A Short History of the World, confirms this same picture of a succession of 4 great powers, dominating much of the world, to the last empire collapsing without another replacing it. But what about the last part of the dream? The little stone that destroyed the statue completely, and then grew to fill the whole earth. What did that mean? Here, Daniel's interpretation is even more extraordinary and takes us from what is now history forward into the future. In the time of those kings, this weak and divided state of affairs, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed.